I don't know.
And it helps them get rejuvenated, right? They need to,
That's what they say.
yeah. How do you think the Rothschilds are all like 200 years old?
They're vampires.
Or what about, what's his face? Who's that old guy? It's supposedly, you see him a lot in the memes with like Star Wars is like the Emperor. George Soros.
Oh, George Soros.
He's like 800 years old. I don't know.
Close enough.
Yeah. All right, Dan, so tell us about some movies that Adrenochrome have been in.
So, of course, like we said, the Fear and Loathing novel was made into a movie in 1998, where a Dr. Gonzo brings a bottle of adrenochrome to Vegas, which in the movie is a drug that Duke claims makes pure mescaline seem like ginger beer. He then takes a tiny drop of the drug. Well, I wouldn't say a tiny drop, he takes like a couple tiny drops. And afterwards, he supposedly can't walk or speak for hours, which we do have a link to the video of that scene. It is about 5 minutes, but I'm not going to watch the whole 5 minutes.
Yeah, if you want to watch it, just open it up, go take a look at it, and tell us what you think. I've already seen it multiple times, so.
Yeah, he supposedly takes a couple drops, then the other guy, I guess Dr. Gonzo, goes crazy, pretending that he got killed or something like that. Then Johnny Depp's character goes and lays in bed, and that's it. That's where it cuts off, so I don't know. So I guess he gets stoned out of his mind. I don't know, haven't seen it.
Okay. The next movie that we're going to talk about is Jupiter Ascending.
I brought this movie up multiple times.
Yeah, you brought it up because you like to watch it because it has Channing Tatum in it. I like to watch it because it has Mila Kunis in it. She's my crush.
100%.
Yeah, so in this movie, Earth is kind of like a farm planet where they harvest Region X, which is kind of like a nectar or whatever they call it. And I guess this kind of could be viewed as like adrenochrome. And a woman lays in a big bathtub with some liquid in it, which I believe to be the nectar or whatever. And they activate the machine to activate the chemical. And when she walks out of it, she is like way younger, which she says earlier in the movie she is 14,004 years old. I mean, could be viewed as adrenochrome, which made me think of like, what is that movie? John Wick? Oh, the chick was in the hot tub, never mind. And then she slit her wrist, and then the water got filled with blood because of her wrist. Never mind.
If you watch Jupiter Ascending, there is one scene, I can't remember where at. They're walking, I guess, through their ship, and underneath are the machines that are harvesting the humans, where it's like flipping around, needles are sticking into them, like in the back of their head, front of their head, everywhere. And they literally have vials and vials of this Regenex nectar stuff that they sell, which, you know, helps keep them, you know, young and immortal.
Makes me think of the theory of aliens coming down and they're actually growing us because they're going to put us in like a vat that they lay in. They're going to drain our blood and use our blood as like a hot tub for them. Ugh.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to kind of move into another strange facts and finding. We got 2 more left. But this next one is about Marina Abramovich, which if you've listened to the Pizzagate episode, which I'm sure all the Patreon members have, it is the weird woman who does her art exhibits, quote unquote art, in which she calls spirit cooking. And yeah, very weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't know if it's actual spirit cooking or just satanic ritual.
There's a lot of like connections with adrenochrome and her that we mentioned in the Pizzagate episode. Also, another thing worth mentioning that we didn't really talk about in the movies, but Monsters, Inc. They're kind of adrenochrome harvesting, right? They scare the kids, the monsters do. The kids scream, it fills up the batteries of the monsters for their city and provides them with electricity or whatever, the scare juice.
Yeah, whatever it is. But I get it.
Yeah.
Terror, fear, scaring kids.
Yeah.
But you know what happens?
What?
Laughter is the better thing.
That is true. That's a fact. All right, Dan, so tell us about this last strange fact and finding we got.
The last ones we got are some newspaper articles.
Yeah, we have like, let's see, I think we came across, 4 separate newspaper articles?
Yeah, 4 separate ones.
All from back in the day that talk about adrenochrome. Now, one of the articles is extremely long, and we will, of course, we'll list these articles up for you to go read, but tell us about this first one, Dan.
So this first one, as you look through it, it talks about physical alcoholism clue found. It talks about, people being alcoholics and stuff and their deficiency with certain chemicals in their body. And the one part that I do notice is on the top right of the article, it says give the alcoholic substitutes for adrenochrome or substances that will help juice up his own production of it. So therefore, they're saying give him some.
Yeah, it says adrenochrome substitutes haven't been developed, but the doctor said ipramazad, a drug used to combat mental depression, may increase a person's production of adrenochrome. Hey, I wonder if that's why the elite want us all depressed. Is that depression increases our adrenochrome?
Oh, possibly.
But this article right here states, right, that the Canadian doctors from the University Hospital in Saskatchewan, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, I'm 100% sure I did, in Canada, that they're the ones who did this theory of this study to try to cure alcoholism.
See, the Canadian doctors said their study suggests alcoholics have a low supply of natural anti-tension substance called adrenochrome. Thus, the doctors declared it may be useful for alcoholics to consider that they have a physiological which will result in an abnormal tension. So they don't produce enough adrenochrome since they're alcoholics. So it's a condition they have because they don't produce as much. So they need something to increase their adrenochrome production, which they suggest giving them adrenochrome.
Yep. And the newspaper articles from back in the day don't stop right there, because we got another one. This one was from an article from Buffalo, New York, that's titled Blood Pressure Cure Discovered. And it said a discovery that adrenaline, the human body's quick-fighting hormone, is easily converted into an antidote for high blood pressure. And that was reported yesterday to the American Chemical Society. The report was by doctors Kay Oster and Harry Sabatka at Mount Sinai, New York. So adrenaline comes from the adrenal glands, and during fear, anger, fighting, or anything requiring quick energy, the hormone is released. It not only raises energy, but temporarily increases your blood pressure. Now, an easy chemical reaction turns this adrenaline in test tubes into a dark red powder known as adrenochrome. This adrenochrome reduces high blood pressure, and this ability had been overlooked by other investigators who tried the red powder only on people with normal blood pressure. It had no effect on normal pressure. It is not in the least poisonous. It can be synthesized. A drawback that's currently with it, as they said, is that it's difficult to, keep it for long periods of time.
So they need fresh stuff.
They need fresh adrenochrome. Right there. Right in that freaking news article, man.
That's insane.
Yeah. All right, tell us about this next one, Dan. So I just noticed that this third clipping that we have is actually located in this giant newspaper article that we have. That's the fourth one. So if you look at the fourth article, Dan, a food that does away with youth.
Yep.
And you scroll down and you see the chickens, and you look to the left of the chickens.
Oh.
That's where that L is at.
So this article right here, the headline of this article is a food that does away with youth.
And it was released on September 6th, 1914. Okay?
Pretty old.
So keep that in mind. All right?
See, and it goes on to say remarkable discoveries about a glands in the brain that may enable science rapidly to turn children into men, chicks into chickens, calves into cows, to St. War's appetite for meat and men. Which it goes on.
Hey, Baba Vanga.
Yeah. One of H.G. Wells' imaginative works, The Food of the Gods. Hey, Ambrosia, Food of the Gods.
Yep.
But even more remarkable is a scientific discovery just brought to light, the effect of which may not only be supply food for the warring nations in a manner, never before conceived, but may likewise furnish made-to-order men to fill up the decimated ranks of the contending armies. Wow, that just sounds fucked.
Wait, while children who ordinarily would not be old enough to fight for their country for 10 to 15 years may perhaps be developed so quickly that they may take an active part in the war within a year or two. So they're creating food to make the people grow older quicker.
So what this article is about is that they took a bunch of animals, chickens, guinea pigs, a couple others, and they were feeding it parts of pineal glands from lambs, I believe. And they noticed the increase in growth from the ones that were being fed the pineal gland with the ones that weren't being fed it. And like the article that you had earlier, beside it, it showed 2 chickens. One on the left was fed the pineal gland of a lamb, and the other one wasn't. And by I think like 9 weeks or so, the chicken that was fed the pineal gland was almost the size of a 3-month chicken, while the one on the right was like still small.
They did an assload of experiments. They did this on 110 guinea pigs, 18 puppies, 14 adult dogs, and 10 chickens. These animals, small quantities of fresh pineal gland from cattle, keeping a record of the changes in weight, in contrast to the other animals who were not fed that.
Read the next paragraph.
The pineal glands were obtained partly from calves, partly from young adults, approximating 3 years, and partly from general... Wait, what the fuck? Did they just insert that right in between the cows? Wait, hold on. The pineal glands were obtained partly from calves, partly from young adults, approximating 3 years.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding this as well. That when they say from young adults, I'm guessing from young adult cows.
It's gotta be.
But the way they worded it in there
makes it sound like freaking young kids.
Yeah, but see, and what makes it even weirder is the fact of the big ass picture to the right of it. The way it's labeled underneath of it, victims of Moloch.
What the fuck? I just now saw that.
In the open and fiery jaws of a monster representing war, millions of submissive slaves are meekly advancing, accompanied by ignorant multitudes and carrying the produce of their labor.
They're basically taking kids and making them grow extremely fast so they could use them for war or labor, basically making them into slaves. All right, hold on. Let's go back to the experiments, and then we'll talk about that. Man, this is a fucked up article. All right, so they took the glands for the food for these animals, these bunch of animals, and they rinsed them free of blood, and they stripped them of adherent tissue, and then grinded them to a fine paste without drying. And then they mixed it with a sugar milk in a quantity of half a grain, and milk sugar represented 10 milligrams of pineal tissue. The mass was made into a half a grain tablets and quickly dried in room temperature. Oh my God. The first experiment, which was performed in anticipation that feeding would retard development, was begun on children. My God, they used different words back then. Incubated beginning at the age of 2 days, one was fed 10 milligram pineal tissue 3 times weekly. The other one was fed blank tablets of milk sugar. Here are the actual results. At the end of the 3rd week, the pineal-fed chicken weighed 219 grams. The control chicken weighed 92 grams. At the end of the 6th week, 557 grams was the one being fed pineal gland. The other one that wasn't was 286. At the end of week 9, 895 versus 550. At the end of the 12th week, 925 versus 700. So in other words, the pineal-fed chicken at 6 weeks was nearly as large as the control chicken at 3 months.
That's insane.
Wow. I wonder if they're doing that to the chickens that they feed us. How they make them grow so quickly?
I hope not. Because if you keep on reading on a little bit more, the striking disproportion in size and the marked skeletal overgrowth, making the large chick awkward in his movements, soon made these chicks a laboratory curiosity but the small number in the different sex did not really make any difference, yada yada. But pretty much they were growing too fast for the skeletal body, I guess, to keep up.
Yeah.
So their movements were very awkward.
You see about